We learn more now in the story of Cecilia Payne. In 1923, Cecilia Payne made a long and lonely journey from her home country of England to Boston, Massachusetts to study astronomy. At the time, opportunities for women were very limited, but exploring the universe was her passion. And enrolling at Harvard was the best path for her to pursue this exciting field that was still very much in its infancy.
Cecilia Payne was one of the top astronomers of her time, and she made a tremendously groundbreaking discovery just in her PhD thesis. What she did was she was looking at stars, and she had a really unusual background at the time. She'd just done an undergraduate degree at Cambridge. She hadn't been awarded the degree because women didn't get awarded degrees at the time, but she'd studied physics and chemistry, and as part of her physics studies, she'd actually studied the new field at the time of quantum mechanics.
That training led to her groundbreaking conclusion that was initially rejected because it contradicted the scientific wisdom of the time.
What she found was that there's much more hydrogen and helium in stars than was previously thought. The problem with that is very senior, famous astronomers at the time really thought that the elemental abundance of the sun was the same as the Earth. And they thought that the amount of hydrogen and helium in the sun would be the same as the Earth. What Cecilia found was that they are not, and that in fact the amount of hydrogen in the sun and the spectra that she analyzed was 1,000,000 times more than what we have on the Earth.
When she published this thesis, there was a lot of pushback, but within a few years it was acknowledged indeed that her thesis was one of the greatest, if not at the time, certainly the greatest thesis in astronomy and astrophysics.
Scholars of that time period were very slow to acknowledge that Cecilia's discoveries were accurate. In the 1920s, women had just been granted the right to vote, so this remarkable achievement earned her a measure of respect that catapulted her to the top of the administration of America's most prestigious university.
What we now know is that the amount of hydrogen in the universe is about 74% hydrogen, 24% helium, and the rest, the tiny 2% left, is the rest of the elements. Now, this was a remarkable discovery to be made by women at the time. Most women weren't doing research. There were no women professors. And this was one of the first astronomy PhDs that was actually done at the Harvard College Observatory.
Cecilia did spend her entire career at Harvard, starting first as a graduate student and ultimately ascending to be an astronomer, a professor, and ultimately the chair of the department, which were in all cases really firsts in the field and for a woman. I think at this point she's actually revered. I think there's a general sense that she was not given the acknowledgement that she initially deserved, but there's been a recognition in the years since that she has been an incredibly powerful force for astronomy and arguably for women in the field.
Her findings were all the more remarkable when you consider the limited resources that were available at the time.
Dr. Payne was able to do all of that without the use of modern technology. She was analyzing the spectra using photographic plates. The American public should understand her story because she was a trailblazer. Major prizes weren't typically awarded to women at the time, so they didn't get the type of recognition that were given to men around the same time. For example, if that discovery had been made today, she would undoubtedly have received a Nobel Prize.